Alright, everybody, welcome back. Now we're gonna see Piers Morgan. Let's go.
This just looks like a catastrophe, and the best we can hope for at this point is that it only ends up killing like 10,000 people, and it only ends up costing tens of billions of dollars.
You're saying the United States is a terrorist organization. You've already lost the debate.
When our
They are. America is, Russia is, China is, Israel is.
politicians lie
That's
us
fact.
into wars that slaughter millions of innocent people, I consider that terrorism. I'll run circles around you on this, dude. Check the scoreboard. Most unpopular war
you
in
can.
American history going in. Check the scoreboard. 13 dead Americans, millions of innocent people being displaced.
You have the luxury of sitting in your little studio with your hooded sweater like you're 17 years old. 50
I have
years.
a wife and children. Who depends on you, Adam? Your
Who's-
mom?
Damn, bro. Look at the face. Look at the face. Damn, bro.
I also have a significant other.
Adam, I'm not quite sure. What is the point you're making?
You expect me to follow that, Morgan? Come on.
My uncle Emo fought in World War I. My parents both fought in World War II. My brother and I are both Vietnam veterans. A Trump in the last 100 years has never done military service. Well, Barron, you can change that. Do something your father didn't have the courage to do.
Damn, this is gonna be a heated one.
Now to the so-called MAGA war, the debate over the extent to which a very real war on Iran has divided Trump's base and put a millstone on his successor's neck. The top podcasts in the US currently include Tucker Carlson, Theo Von, Sean Ryan, Candace Owens, and of course Joe Rogan. They're all influential people with big platforms who supported Trump's re-election, but have all spoken out against the Iran war. Vehemently pro-war broadcasters like Mark Levin and Ben Shapiro are nowhere to be seen at the top of these charts, even as they take pot shots at the dissenting podcasters and at YouTube shows like Megyn Kelly's and mine. All of this has fueled some hasty revisionism on a new media ecosystem hailed as mighty and powerful by Trump after winning what many mainstream commentators called the podcast election.
Alas, none of that is true. The narrative that MAGA is split over Iran, beloved by the liberal media and the anti-Israel far left and right, is complete fiction. Far from a betrayal, poll after poll after poll has found massive, overwhelming support for the president.
You fucking Americans are retarded, bro. So what if you got a poll, man? Nobody fucking believed that shit. This is the most fucking retarded shit ever. 90% approve, 5% against. What are we in North Korea? What fucking kind of fucking fantasy world are you guys living in? Look at this. Mega support for Trump. 100 fucking percent. God damn, bro. Bro, who the fuck believes this shit? Mega on foreign politics, 80 fucking 4% and 6% against. God damn. Bruv, even fucking Kim Jong-un couldn't even make these polls happen. God damn, bruv. You guys are living in a fucking parallel universe. You ain't living in this world, bruv. If you believe this shit, you ain't living in this world. God damn.
Strikes on Iran among Republican voters.
There are numbers that just jump off the screen at you, and this is one of those. Because just take a look here. MAGA GOP view of Trump. Approve 100%. 100%. If you are a member of MAGA and the GOP, you approve of Donald John Trump. 0% say that they disapprove. You don't have to be a mathematical genius to know you can't go higher than 100%.
Right now, there's a big
I would be fucking dying if they made it like 110%. God damn, that would be so fucking funny.
fight going on between Megyn Kelly and Ben Shapiro about Candace Owens. And as it plays out, it's very important to remember that the most common reaction to it from Americans is, I don't know who any of these people are, and I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Well, clearly millions of people do know who the fuck you're talking about. Clearly CNN knows all about it. as they now invite podcasters and influencers on all the time. They now seem to want to look like podcasters and influencers themselves. The problem is the assumption that media audiences are stupid and just do as they're told, which is no truer now than when legacy media was at its peak. What they can do is change the narrative and call out hypocrisy where they see it. They do this effectively and repeatedly. Trump's MAGA core has always been right behind him. That's not in dispute. They're famously the people who still back him if he shot someone in Fifth Avenue, as he said. But they're nowhere near enough for him or any Republican to win the next presidency. Trump won by building a remarkable anti-establishment coalition of pissed-off liberals and young men wearied of woke, of libertarians sick of wars in the Middle East, of black men and Hispanics who felt they'd been taken for granted, of swing voters who were sick of the status quo and liked the sound of America first. These are the people that MAGA is deserting. If the apparently irrelevant podcasters still have numbers the president would sell an arm for, well, they are the reason why. In a moment, we'll be addressing the apparent MAGA rift with Dave Smith and Adam Sosnick. But first, I want to begin by discussing...
Damn, Piers is mad. Why is Piers so mad? Piers is very mad. This don't look like Piers. Piers is going on the warpath. It's interesting.
President Trump's influences and options with the former US Defense Secretary and CIA Director Leon Panetta. Mr. Panetta, welcome back to Uncensored.
Good to be with you, Piers.
What the hell is going on? Make some sense of it, please.
Well, it's obvious that the president was in a very difficult situation. The regime change, which was, I think, the initial objective, was not working, and intelligence indicated that the regime is even more entrenched. I think the president wanted to declare victory and bring the war to an end. We certainly have achieved a lot of our military objectives there, but the problem was that with the Straits of Hormuz closed, frankly, Iran had a great deal of leverage, and there wasn't much chance of getting a ceasefire without the Straits being open. So the president faced a choice. Do you open the Straits of Hormuz militarily?
So this ex-CIA director, son of a bitch, he is supporting the war. He's just butthurt because the Iranians fucking strong manhandled you and fucking choke your asses out. And fucking they pushed your shit so hard in you didn't know what to do. So CIA director, ex-CIA director, suck it.
Try to negotiate.
Suck a D.
Negotiate? Do you try to get our allies to be able to open it? He was struggling to try to find an answer. And evidently, there began to be some negotiations here.
Exactly. This is why I'm saying, listen, it's not Trump. It's these guys. The guys behind the scenes. This CIA director, probably the CIA director right now, and all these guys, bruv. It's the deep state. These guys are the guys who are telling the presidents what to do and how to act. So if we don't need to point our finger at Trump, we need to point the finger at the deep state in America.
And now he's held up on strikes. And the hope is that they can find a way to open up the Straits of Hormuz. The Iranians are probably...
The Iranians don't want to speak with you until you surrender and agree to the Iranian demands. So don't act dumb. You are on your knees sucking it, and now you have to swallow.
The best people that could do that, because they know where the mines are and they know how to clear the straits in a much more rapid way than anybody else.
What he's lying, man. He's lying. Half of the European frigates and warships don't work. They don't got replacements for the things that are broken on their ships. The ships are so old that there's no production, bruv. All the fucking things that need to get replaced need to be specially made. So this guy don't know what he's talking about. There's no ships going around who can fucking pick up mines. It isn't a fucking... Bruv, these guys are getting high on their own supply. They believe their own bullshit, bro. Who the fuck is making these talking points? They're fucking retarded, bruv. Half of the European fucking fleet is fucking so old you can't even fucking use those ships. The other half are fucking broken and old. Bruv, these Americans don't know what they're talking about.
You were running the CIA. You must have, I guess, looked at the potential to affect regime change in Iran or do something about Iran, given the way it's tending.
It's maybe time for regime change in America. The whole regime and the whole political system. Maybe it's time to split America up and make it into states again. That could be a good thought.
Were spreading through the Middle East and in nefarious ways, but nothing got done. We've now heard that the Israelis had gone to President Obama and to President Biden and said, we're going to attack Iran. Are you with us? The answer came back no, and both times they then didn't do it. Do you think that Trump, in the end, succumbed to pressure from Israel to get involved here?
Well, I think President Trump was concerned.
He just said it. Israel have proposed these plans. The deep state in America have proposed these plans to other presidents. But those presidents, they were a little smarter. They wasn't that dumb to go out and attack Iran. Iran, they pushed America's shit so hard in, bro. You Americans, your breath is gonna stink of shit the next 100 years. God damn, bro.
About Iran, concerned about the threat from Iran. And I do believe that when Israel came to the president with the idea that they...
Listen, let me just say one thing to all the Americans and all the New World Order loving sons of bitches. The New World Order is done. It took, how long? 80 years? But at last it folded. It got brought down. And now you're gonna find your little place and sit quiet and act right.
Had intelligence on where the supreme leader was located and that they could ultimately destroy their key leadership. And that would ultimately allow the protesters to take to the streets and would bring down the regime. I think that was, frankly, something that Israel and then I think President Trump probably thought could happen. I think it was a little...
This is so fucking funny. The Americans got high on their own fucking CIA operation and fake news. They believe their own fucking fake news from the CIA, bro. This is so fucking dumb. Listen, the Iranians love their regime. They love their country. They don't want European fucking values, Western values. They want their own values. And you cannot force anybody to take your values. This is not the Middle Age anymore. This is not the Crusades. This is not... Listen, bro. You live how you want to live, and people around the world are gonna choose how they're gonna live, and you ain't gonna fucking boss nobody around. And Iran showed it very beautifully.
Naive, because the intelligence indicated that that the regime was much more entrenched than that. But nevertheless, they thought that could produce a very quick result and that the war could end quickly. I think that was a miscalculation on the part of both Israel and the United States.
But any calculation about attacking Iran in the way that the United States and Israel ended up doing, it must have automatically factored in something going on with the Straits of Hormuz, because that would be the most obvious, it seems to me, way that Iran might retaliate would be economically, because they can't compete that effectively militarily.
What, Piers, are you fucking completely retarded? The American warships are 4,000 kilometers away from Iran right now. They ran away, Piers. Are you fucking retarded, bruv? All the bases are hit. American bases hit. Are you fucking retarded, Piers? They fucking manhandled America so fucking hard that he's coming out with fucking new plans every fucking hour because he don't know what to do. And neither do the generals or CIA or Mossad or nobody, because Iran got everybody by its balls, and now everybody's gonna sing how Iran wants, and you can't do shit about it. You lost. You lost the fucking first day. You lost. And so what if you fucking eliminate the elite, the top? It doesn't mean shit, bruv. New people are gonna take over, and the new people are gonna be like, fuck you guys. You killed the last one who led. Why shouldn't you kill me? So those guys are not gonna be so nice with you. It's just retarded, bruv. It's like everybody could have told himself that would happen. So, and even if they didn't have the fucking Straits of Hormuz, they would fucking pound their asses so fucking hard, bruv. Listen, these guys are fucking retarded, bruv. They think Iran is like Iraq and Afghanistan, bruv, with no fucking defenses, where they're gonna fight civilian people with AKs. Listen, bruv, you got your shit pushed in, and it is funny as shit. And you, Piers, stop your fucking propaganda shit.
And I would have thought it would be reasonably obvious.
Honestly, we should have people to fucking show where these fucking talking points are coming from every time, because it's the same talking points around the fucking world. In Europe, you're hearing the same fucking talking points.
That they may also attack some of their Gulf state neighbors in the way that they have done, oil refineries and so on, if their own refineries came under attack. None of this seems to me to be exactly rocket science. And yet the administrations of both countries appear to have been taken a bit by surprise, or have they?
No, I think one of the concerns is that there wasn't a lot of time kind of considering the consequences of what could happen when you attack Iran. I mean, we had looked at the potential of some kind of conflict with Iran, and it was very clear to all of us that one of the first things that Iran would do is close the Straits of Hormuz. It's an obvious result. It's easy to close, and it can impact on oil prices and creates a tremendous amount of pressure on whoever's attacking Iran. So what concerns me is I think they really didn't focus on that as a very real consequence. They seem.
Listen, I know what's going on now. They're gonna listen up. Trump and America is gonna use the Straits of Hormuz, or what's it called, as a scapegoat for stopping the war. They're gonna be like, no, world economics, blah blah blah. We're gonna stop because we're gonna save the world now. Blah 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 blah. Nah, bruh. Iran fucked you guys up, man. They fucked you guys up. You don't give a fuck about the world economics. You just found out what would happen. That's why you've not put in land troops, because those land troops will be fucking going back in body bags. And every fucking body knows it. Stop fucking lying to the American people. Honestly, the American people gotta be dumb if they fucking got politicians like this, man. You gotta be fucking retarded, bro.
Seemed ill prepared to deal with it rather than having a plan of how you would maintain.
And even if you have a CIA director, ex-director who's retarded like this, bruv, yes, your country is going to right down the drain, bruv.
The straits to be open. And as a result of that, I think Iran developed even more leverage in terms of trying to make the United States understand that the regime was very much in charge of the Straits of Hormuz, and that as long as that was happening, prices of oil would increase dramatically. It would impact on prices not only here in this country, but throughout the world. And that
Oh, listen up. That's why they took Venezuela, but Trump didn't know the difference between oils. He didn't know it was heavy oil. Oh, bro, this is such a fucking joke. This is a shit show on another fucking level, bro. Honestly, you Americans are fucking idiots. We know what the fuck you guys are doing. And you can lie to yourself and make up these fantasy stories and all of this, but we all know what is really happening. You are trying to pull out, but you are trying to pull the Iranians' dick out of your ass, but the Iranians are just hitting that shit, man. Hitting it hard.
at some point, it could have a major impact on the economies of the world. And I think the president understood ultimately that the only alternative he had was to find a way to get the straits open. Now they're hopefully in discussions, and if they can open the straits, I think there is a chance that perhaps this war could be brought to an end.
I mean, Iran still possesses the same enriched uranium it had before this war started. It's clear that, because Netanyahu has said so publicly, that air power alone cannot win this war in the way that they originally intended, which would include getting their hands on the enriched uranium. Is there any other way to get that enriched uranium?
Listen, even if America somehow got 1 million fucking soldiers and deployed them to Iran, listen, half of them are not coming back. The other half is gonna refuse to fight after a couple of, I don't know, weeks. Bruv, listen, this is not serious. These guys don't know how to make war plans. Listen, to take over Iran, you at least need 10 million invading soldiers, at least. And that's not even talking, that's foot soldiers. That's not even talking about the logistics and all of this. It's gonna, bruv, with logistics and all of that shit, bruv, it's gonna be more like, I don't know, man, 15 million. So, bruv, even that number is too little. It's impossible. America will, even if they tried, they would destroy themselves before they even got close. Just, this is kids fucking fantasy fucking, I don't know, man. It's easy when it's against civilians. Yeah, we know, America, you're strong against civilians. You are very strong. Like Russia is strong against civilians. Like China is strong against civilians. Like the British, like the French. But as soon as you meet somebody, when you're against a country that has something to defend themselves with, you ain't strong. You just look pathetic, like you do when you're against civilians.
Assuming the Iranians don't just hand it over as part of a deal, which I think is extremely unlikely, is there any way to get it other than to use ground troops? And how big a risk would that be for Donald Trump to commit US?
Listen, Trump is gonna give America before any Iranian gives Iran to America. Listen, these guys who are in Europe and America, these Iranians, majority of them are sellouts. They got nothing to do with Iran. Those guys are fucking just American puppies who got money when their fucking little king was there before and all of that shit. Everybody know it, bro. Stop fucking lying.
Ground forces.
Well, look, there's no question that would be a very tough military operation. This stuff is buried deep in the ground. Nobody.
Listen, even the CIA ex-director, he don't know how to fucking do it. It's impossible. You can't do it. If you could, you would, but you can't. And you know.
Has any easy access to it. They would have to be able to rappel down and probably face a tremendous amount of opposition there.
Exactly.
Since it's such a clear objective for the United States. So in the end, the best way to deal with that issue is to get energy authorities to again go back into Iran,
That's not gonna
to
happen.
be able to inspect
That's not gonna happen.
and be able to make sure that that enriched fuel does not wind up in a nuclear weapon. That's
not gonna
probably the
happen.
best way to
And it ain't
ultimately
gonna
deal
happen.
with the nuclear threat.
And it
I
ain't
just
gonna
want to
happen.
end, Leon Panetta.
Listen, that ain't gonna happen. That's is out of the question. Now Iran is not even playing with that, bro. You're dealing. The last guy, he was like he believed in you a little bit. This new guy, he ain't gonna fucking play around with you, bro. You don't. This listen, the new guy who's in control of Iran, they don't even got connections to him. They haven't even got any information. Not, he hasn't even spoken to anybody who's not in the immediate circle. These guys don't know shit, bruv. The Iranians, you know what? Every time America sends like other world leaders, other countries to go to start negotiation with Iran. America do that, but the Iranians every time are just saying to them, "This is our demands. Either you agree or we're not talking."
About Robert Mueller for a moment.
Honestly, you guys in the States and in Europe, you don't get real news, bro. We are all, the whole world is laughing in your faces because, bro, your media is telling you so much garbage. It's so untrue what they're saying, bro. It's so fucking funny, bro. And you guys are eating it up. It's so fucking funny, bro. For us guys, we're laughing, bro.
Because
damn.
you ran the CIA when he ran the FBI. You became, I think, pretty close as a double act, working often for the same purpose. When he died, President Trump posted on his Truth Social platform, "Robert Mueller just died. Good. I'm glad he's dead. He can no longer hurt innocent people." Now, this is somebody who, aside from his work at the FBI, was a Vietnam veteran. He saved the life of a wounded colleague under enemy fire. Following year, he was shot through the thigh. He received a Bronze Star, a Purple Heart, and 2 Navy Commendation medals. For the President of the United States to describe somebody with that record serving his country as good, I'm glad he's dead. What did you think about that?
I thought it was disgraceful what the president said. I know Bob Mueller. I knew him very well. We worked together when I was CIA director and he was FBI director, and we worked closely together. Bob Mueller was a patriot by every definition of the word. He was committed not only to serving this country as a Marine and serving bravely, but serving this country as FBI director. He was well respected by everyone who dealt with him. He was somebody totally committed to our system of justice. He was respected by people in the FBI and in the judicial system. Bob Mueller is going to go down in history as a real stalwart in protection of the laws of our country. That's not going to happen with this president, who basically avoids the rule of law every time he gets a chance.
You know, I've always had a problem with the way Donald Trump talks about people when they die. You know, I just think the basic good manners, just dictates, especially from the office of the president. I remember when Colin Powell died, when John McCain died, recently with Rob Reiner died, that sometimes he just blurts out what he may be thinking when the best thing may be to just say nothing at all. Do you feel that?
Look, I've worked with a lot of presidents in the time that I've been around Washington. And every president I knew, whether I agreed or disagreed with their politics, had a basic human decency and a respect for other individuals, and just had good manners to respect other people, whether they agreed or disagreed with them. This is the first president who has none of those values, basically says whatever he thinks. And
that is why I like Trump. Honestly, I like Trump for that. I like Trump because you know what the fuck he's thinking. He's not a weasel. He's gonna fuck you up, and he's gonna say he's gonna fuck you up, but he's not a weasel. That's the difference. These guys are weasels, like this ex-CIA director. They're gonna laugh and be a buddy and friend, and then they're gonna stab you in the back and fucking bury you 3 feet deep. You know? So actually, yeah, I can actually respect how the way Trump acts, because he's not a weasel. He acts. He's gonna say what he's doing. Of course, it might not be right and it isn't right, but still, as I'm saying, you cannot point the finger at Trump because there is a deep state who has actually wanted this for the last, since CIA and America was thrown out of Iran. So it's not Trump's plan. This is the American deep state, and this guy is just trying to say, like, give Trump the blame now, this ex-CIA director, when he knows that he, in his time, was working on plans how to invade Iran and blah, blah, blah. Listen, bruv, we ain't fucking kids anymore, bruv. This kids game history shit, forget about it. We know the fucking truth, man.
As a result of that, I think people understand that this is not somebody who really respects the decency of other human beings. And that's just the way he is. It's unfortunate because, frankly, every president I knew that basic decency was a critical element of that individual's character. And that's missing from this president.
Yeah, and the problem is I see a lot of people who are sort of defending it on social media from the MAGA crowd. And my response to them would be, I remember how furious you all rightly were when people gloated when Charlie Kirk was murdered, for example. And I agreed. It was disgusting, some of the things I was seeing from the more woke liberal left in response to Charlie Kirk's murder. But you can't be enraged by that and then laugh when the President of the United States says this about Robert Mueller. I'm afraid that is just rank hypocrisy. And either way, the bottom line is, like you say, when people die, just basic dignity and grace should kick in, I believe. Leon Panetta, thank you very much indeed for joining me. I appreciate it.
Good to be with you, Piers.
Joining me to debate this and more, Dave Smith, host of Part of the Problem, a libertarian who backed Trump in 2024, and Adam Susnick, who's the Valuetainment host and PBD podcast regular, a former liberal who backed Trump in 2024. Well, welcome to both of you. Dave Smith, we'll come to the tsunami that greeted your last appearance on Uncensored, led by Ben Shapiro, a little later. But first of all, this sort of quaint notion now being peddled by people in the mainstream media that the podcast world is irrelevant, no one's ever heard of any of the podcasters or we YouTubers or anything, and we should all just be ignored. I don't think that's true.
Oh, I mean, it's patently absurd on its face. I mean, again, I'm not trying to like overstate the influence that any one podcast or show has. But I mean, lots of people listen to shows they don't necessarily agree completely with the host of that show. But again, to say, look, I mean, Piers, if you look at the polls, what the polls tell us is that this is the most unpopular war in American history going into the war. And CNN is going to read you these North Korea numbers. Actually, in fact, I think it was Kim Jong-un did in his last election, 100%.
That's so fucking funny. That was what I said, bro.
Of MAGA. But what does that really mean? I mean, the truth is, Piers, you kind of nailed it here in your own.
Honestly, even Kim Jong-un is laughing, and bro, everybody, honestly, who the fuck is not laughing about those numbers? You gotta be a fucking special kind of retard to believe that shit.
Opening, right? Even when Joe Biden was clearly senile and was forced to pull out of his re-election campaign, the majority of Biden supporters still supported him, and like there was still going to be like 40-something% of the electorate would have voted for Joe Biden. Now, that wasn't enough, though, and that's why they forced him out, because you need a coalition to carry you here. So this comes down to like how you're defining MAGA. If you want to say Joe Rogan and Theo Vaughn and Andrew Schultz and all these guys, they're not MAGA. Well, okay, but they were relevant enough for Donald Trump to go on all of their shows in the campaign. And the point is that the coalition that got Donald Trump elected in 24, that got him for the first time ever to win the popular vote, that coalition has been destroyed. And the final thing I'll say is this, Piers, I made this prediction on my show the other day, but right now you kind of have these two, broadly speaking, camps, say Megyn Kelly and Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens, maybe people like me, who are saying the coalition has been destroyed. And then on the other side, you have people like you played Bacha, Ben Shapiro, who are saying, no, the coalition is fine. What we've learned is that Tucker Carlson doesn't matter. Give it a couple months, Piers, and I promise you, everyone on that side will say the coalition has been destroyed and it's Tucker's fault. This is going to tank Donald Trump's presidency. We're already past the point of that. The Democrats are going to win the House and the Senate. It's going to be impeachments and subpoenas and investigations for the next 2 years. And I don't think anyone from this administration can win the presidential in 28 at this pace. People
are going to jail, everybody.
Right. Well, Adam, you're part of a very successful podcast. Patrick Bet-David's been a regular on the show, as have other members of your great team. And, you know, I would say just from a personal, you can only judge it personally, I guess, but I've been on some of the biggest TV shows, mainstream TV shows you can think of, right? America's Got Talent for 6 years. Britain's Got Talent. I replaced Larry King at CNN. They aired my show 3 times a day in America and around the world, and so on and so on. And what's been fascinating to me in the last couple of years is I get more people come up to me in the street, wherever I am, whether it's New York, LA, London, Sydney, the Middle East, whatever, more people come up, and they're a bit younger than came up when I did any of those shows. And they're all coming up about my YouTube show, and they're all watching it avidly, and they're watching other shows like yours, like Dave's, Tucker, because they talked to me about all this. I had 2 guys last week from Denmark, 19 I think they were, stopped me in the street in West London. Passionate viewers of Uncensored. Right? It was really fascinating to talk to them. So I just think this idea that people who operate away from mainstream media now, like you, like me, like Dave, like others, that we're kind of irrelevant.
Fuck the mainstream media. Those guys are fucking sold. Those guys are fucking the devil. All those guys in mainstream media should be in jail.
And no one knows who we are is completely contradicted by reality. I just see it in the streets. So I don't know whether it's self-preservation going on, that the mainstream media doesn't want to accept there's been a shift in power. But what do you think?
So we're talking about the mainstream media. So how much trust do you have in the mainstream media? But so let me answer that. So number one, Piers, great to be with you. Dave, good to see you. It's been a little while, and thank you for dressing up, Dave. The question that you're asking is, are young people watching social media and they're watching YouTube?
Fucking
Obviously,
duh.
My mom still watches the news at 8 p.m. and if she misses it, that's it. She doesn't see it. She hasn't figured out how to get on social media. She still tries to ask me how to find me on YouTube and on Instagram. But yes, the 35 and under crowd is on social media. And I'll tell you an anecdote. I'm a registered independent. I'd never voted for Trump, and then I had common sense and realized you vote for Trump, who might be brutish and an a-hole, or you vote for a weak, feckless, I wouldn't even call it leader like Kamala, and obviously the choice is pretty easy. But I would debate with my liberal friends, one that was very, very, very tight with the Clinton people, part of the Hillary campaign, and he noticed as I was starting to become more, let's just say, less Trump hating. This is in 2023, 2024, run up to the election. And then he goes, dude, I don't know what happened to you. You're like full on MAGA now. I go, no, I just have common sense. I see what's going on the radical left, and it's so un-American to me. And he goes, yeah, you're just in your little YouTube world. I'm in the real world with the real politicians and the real polls. I got the real stuff going on. I go, hey, buddy, his name is John. I go, John, this is the real world now, guy. Yeah, well, we'll see. So obviously, we see what happens in the election. This is not the type of person that likes to apologize, right? Comes up to me and he goes, Adam, I was dead wrong. You're right. This is a new YouTube world. Congratulations on all your success, Piers, and welcome to the YouTube world. It is what it is.
Okay, well, we're sort of in broad agreement there. Let's get to broad disagreement, I suspect, which is the way this war is playing out. I mean, Dave, I've really struggled to work out the upside for Donald Trump from the start of this. Doing this so close to the midterms, doing exactly what he said he wouldn't do, which is he was going to stop, attacking Middle Eastern countries. It was all going to be America first, a premium on sorting out American problems in America. And then suddenly he launches a war on one of the biggest countries in the Middle East, certainly one of the best armed. And all hell has broken loose, not least to the global economy, which is inevitably going to have, and already is having, a very detrimental effect on living standards for average Americans. If I'm an American that voted for Trump, I'm like, I don't get this. I might in a poll say, I get it, but I don't think I really get it.
Yeah, and then you also have to consider there, Piers, right? Like there's a sizable percentage of people who support Donald Trump, who approve of the job broadly that he's been doing, who maybe, look, we're 3 weeks or whatever into this, go, all right, I'll kind of give him a chance, we'll see. But if this doesn't turn into any type of win, and if it turns into a clear disaster, which it already seems to be, that's only going to hurt him more and more and more. I think, look, Piers, it's despite the fact that it is not in my incentives in some way as like a political commentator, like I hope this whole thing just works out great. And then I know that all the people who don't like me will say, haha, you were warning that this would be a disaster. I hope that I would much rather take that deal and live in that. But Piers, the other element there is that, right, we had the 12-day war in the summer. And I've certainly heard, I heard at the time, some on debates that we did on your show and others. And I've heard nothing but since then on social media that, you guys were so stupid. You were warning about exactly what we're seeing right now, which is what all of us were warning about who were critics of the 12-day war. And but the Iran didn't do that. And they were like, look, we got away with it. One and done. No Americans dead. And that's it. We don't have to do anything else. They spent the following 6 months bragging about how the nuclear threat had been totally obliterated. Now we find ourselves, Piers, back in this same situation. And as I mentioned last time on your show, the big picture here is that clearly the calculation changed for Iran. They no longer feel that it's in their incentive for self-preservation to not strike back and kill Americans or not do maximal damage. And now, clearly, with a younger, more radical Ayatollah who has not promised to not build nuclear weapons, they've made the calculation that actually they can't not give us a bloody nose, that they have to really make this cost us. Otherwise, we'll be back in another few months doing it again. And of course, at the beginning of this war, Donald Trump said this was a full regime change war and called for the people to rise up and overthrow their government. And the people did rise up, Piers, in support of their martyr Ayatollah and in support of this regime. I know you saw some of those aerial shots. There must have been hundreds of thousands of people out in the streets in Tehran, in the most liberal part of the country, supporting the regime. So I'm sorry, at this point, this just looks like a catastrophe. And the best we can hope for at this point is that it only ends up killing like 10,000 people, and it only ends up costing tens of billions of dollars rather than the 200 that Secretary Hegseth has asked for. And this all relies on two major factors. Think about this, Piers. It's not just that Donald Trump has to call it quit and declare victory or whatever, but then we got two other entities that are majorly involved in this war, Iran and Israel. Now, we know at this point, Iran is saying they're vowing not to stop. They talk a lot of bluster. Who knows? Maybe they will. But Israel, Piers, we all know they want the regime change here. In the 12-day war and in this war already, they've hit targets after Trump has clearly asked them not to. Who's to say they don't continue doing that? And it begs a real question of how we get out of this quagmire. Yeah, 3 weeks in, we're already there.
Right. So, Adam, you've had a little spat with Dave on social media when he called it an elite.
Listen. We are all forgetting the most important thing. Europe cut America off. For the first time since World War II, Europe cut America off. This was the last influence America had over Europe and European countries. After this, Europe is done with America. And if you guys don't see it, bruv, wake up. See the fucking sunrise. America is done on the international fucking world, in the international world. Now America is gonna take its orders from Europe. Wait and see. Just wait and see.
Legal war of aggression on X. You say, come on, guy, read the room. Dave responded, let's not pretend you read, Adam. To which you replied, I'm able to read scoreboards. You are losing big time. Do you still feel that? I mean, do you still feel that? Because I would argue that the scoreboards militarily absolutely would show that the United States and Israeli combined forces have inflicted enormous damage on Iran's military capability. I think that's inarguable.
What are you talking about, Piers? What? Listen, bro. Iranians got all the fucking shit dug down on the fucking deserts and on the mountains, and bruv, the Iranians haven't shown shit, bruv. The Iranians really haven't shown shit, bruv. The Americans cannot go into Iran. It is impossible. Unless they want to lose all their troops, but else it is impossible, bruv. Listen, America cannot save face. It is impossible. America is a laughing stock of the world right now. Little Iran that's been under sanctions the last, 50 years are fucking demolishing, brutally fucking pushing America's shit in, and Israel's. Israel is fucking in chaos, bruv. What are you talking about, Piers? What fantasy dimension are you fucking in?
However, what I don't think has been properly factored in by the Americans and Israelis is the ability of Iran to wage an economic war in parallel to a military war. And that by controlling the Strait of Hormuz and by attacking, as they have done, their neighboring Gulf states, both oil refineries and tourist hotspots and so on, they've managed to freak everybody out and they freak the global markets. And this is incredibly damaging to Donald Trump, because every day that Strait of Hormuz is shut, then you will see the impact for the next few weeks and months coming through the US economy and the global economy, but the US economy. You know, when fertilizer, when the impact of that being stopped comes through in a couple of months' time, it takes a while to cut through to the actual people of America. but it will. And when it does, it's going to be very damaging. Do you not think that the longer this goes on, the more of a miscalculation has been made here?
Look, I'm not the Trump is the all B MAGA guy. I'm the guy that was like, yeah, I'm not so sure about this Trump guy. You know what? Oh, I got the fake news. Oh, Russia, Russia, Russia. Oh, it turns out, yeah, you know what? He's way better than the other side. So I had to use logic and a measured approach to get me to the point where I'm like, he's the guy. So I'll ask you another question. Let's say Trump wasn't here. What's Kamala doing?
Oh, no,
So
I mean, don't
everything in
get me wrong.
politics is binary.
I think Kamala Harris would have been a terrible president. I thought Joe Biden was a
Okay.
terrible president. And I've always said with Trump, I think I find myself agreeing with some of the things.
Listen, bro. I don't care, man. Kamala would not have gone into Iran. She might have helped with the genocide in Gaza and on the Palestinians, but she wouldn't be that dumb. And let's just remember, Trump has only been in power now, this time for a year. There's still 3 years. This is only fucking 1 year. This is the first year, bruv. This shit is gonna hit the fan.
Things he does and disagreeing with others, which I think is the right way to deal with Trump. I think if you just judge him on what comes out of his mouth...
Well, that's just like with anything, Piers. You're not going to agree with
nuts.
everybody and disagree with that.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
and look, when I came on the PBD podcast, I loved it because we disagree about stuff, and you guys come on, we disagree, we agree, but we never fall out over it, and nor should anybody, right? But on this specific call about Iran, I did say on day one, I think this is a massive gamble, and I don't understand the timing, and I think the capacity for this to go badly wrong is very high.
You don't understand the timing. That means what Piers just said, he's pro-war against Iran, but he didn't see the timing for doing it right now. That means he could see the time for doing it later. That means that Piers, fuck your wife, and everybody's screwing your wife, the pool boys, the fucking everybody. Piers, you're a real son of a bitch.
The longer it has gone on, because Trump originally was like, this is over in days, then it's over in a couple of weeks, then everything started changing, then the regime change he said was going to happen with people rising up. None of that has happened. There are lots of reasons for it. I think the reason we saw so many pro-regime people hit the streets was they were not going to get killed doing it. We saw in January when people protested against the regime, a lot got killed. And obviously there are bombs.
Nobody got killed. No innocent people got killed, and the numbers are inflated and lies. And stop your shit. Your CIA operation got destroyed, and Mossad operation, and whatever operations from the British, MI6, the French, it got destroyed. The Iranians know what the fuck you guys are doing, bruv. It's fucking incredible how you guys think this. Everybody is fucking dumb. Listen, Iran got all of you by the balls. Either you're gonna sing whatever song Iran wants, or it's gonna be expensive for you for a long time. Chee.
Flying around all over the cities of Iran, which will also put people off, I guess. So there are lots of reasons, I guess, why people are protesting or not protesting in certain ways. But to me, the justification for this war has changed so many times. It's made me think, I don't think Donald Trump has any clear idea of what victory looks like. Do you? I mean, if the regime remains intact and they keep their enriched uranium...
Listen, this is just dumb. America and Trump and the generals, CIA, the British, the French, all of them just thought they can just waltz in, take over, put in their companies, put in their people with money, put in their factories, the production lines, all of that shit. Check the minerals, check the resources. But Iran still, even though they have had embargo and been excommunicated by, not excommunicated, but forcefully threatened not to make money on the international, I don't know what's it called, with other countries. But even after that, Iran pushed the West's shit in. And now the West is on its knees and sucking and swallowing.
For example, and they maintain control of the Straits of Hormuz. Is that victory?
Well, look, this was not an easy decision. You think, these guys have been in power 47 years. Everybody in our microwave hustle society wants this done in the next 4 to 7 weeks. It's going to take some time. And we've already, I was talking to a good Navy SEAL, buddy of mine, Navy SEAL. He said, dude, we've taken out 80% of their military capacity. Not bad in less than a month. So let the guy.
Who the fuck is saying that? Is that the poll? The same guys who made the poll with 99 or 90% and 100%. So now it's 80% of the military. Listen, you haven't touched anything. Honestly, you haven't even touched 5%. If you guys are believing this shit and you really believe that, put your troops in. If it's true, why don't you put your troops in? Why don't you put your troops in? Let's say it's 80%. That means they got 20%. That means it's easy to take over. Put your troops in. Don't bullshit. Put your life where your mouth is.
Cook a little bit. So you also talk about, Dave, that, oh yeah, they had people out there pro-regime. Yeah, nobody's denying that 10 to maybe 20% max of the country is pro-regime. But what about the 80% of the country? That's like if Dave had a comedy show and there was 100 people that magically showed up to Dave's comedy show. Oh my God, he has so many fans. Dude, there's 100,000 people outside that didn't go to the show. I'm not being like brutish or sarcastic, but just you're taking a small sample size and extrapolating that for the entire country. We all know
just to be clear,
who this regime is.
Hang on, Adam. Just
we
to
all know that this is a terrorist regime.
Just to be technically correct on that argument you're making, if 100 people turned up to watch Dave's show, then technically over 8 billion chose not to.
Correct, and that's pretty uniform at this point.
This is really making me feel bad about my numbers on the road.
It doesn't necessarily mean that 8 billion people.
Yeah,
it doesn't mean there are 8 billion people who don't like Dave Smith.
I used to own a couple. No, it's fine. I mean, I actually do like Dave Smith. Let me tell you a Dave Smith story. I actually have respect for Dave Smith, but I realized who Dave Smith is, and I would say this to his face or on camera. Dave Smith is a radical libertarian. Don't take my word for it. You've said this multiple times. Have you not, Dave Smith?
Said what? That I'm a radical libertarian? Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Yes. Okay, perfect. So when you're radical, what's another word
for? I believe in it. Well, what I believe in is true Americanism.
Radical? Extremist. Okay.
This is why you call relative
America,
terms.
This is why you call. Sure. This is why you call the U.S. military the greatest terrorist organization on earth, right? Because you're a true American? Because you're a true patriot? Is that why, Dave? Because something tells me you have what is known as clickbait of the mouth. And you're using these instances, these wars, to garner attention for you. You have the American flag behind you, yet you have the hypocrisy of saying the United States military, United States is the greatest terror organization the world has ever seen. I mean, I don't understand what's going on here. This is why you're radical.
I didn't say
by the way,
I tell you what, hang on, just to be fair to Dave, let's replay what he actually said on this show, which caused all the furore, led by Ben Shapiro. We'll play what he said, and I'll play what Shapiro said about it, and then we'll come back to Dave for a response.
The IDF is the worst terrorist organization in the region. Let's get real. The United States of America is arguably the worst terrorist organization in the world. If you want to look over the last 25 years, how many innocent civilians we've slaughtered.
It doesn't matter, it turns out, how many times you appear on Joe Rogan's show or how many times you hide behind your title of comedian who holds the Guinness Book of World Records.
Yo, listen, Viva Face. Why the fuck are you even talking through your nose? Stop talking through your nose. This guy, he's talking through his nose, man. Men don't talk through their noses. They talk like men. God damn, man.
Or fewest jokes told, or how many times you spew puerile analogies that demonstrate nothing but unbelievable, willful ignorance of the nature of war. I'm sorry, but you hate the country if you say America is the worst terrorist organization in the world. You just do. Now, I know that Dave Smith is super duper excited that his name was mentioned here, and he's sitting there shouting at his TV screen in his basement, "Debate me, bro!" To which I answer, nah. I don't debate with trolls who claim that America is the biggest terrorist state in the world because that is idiotic.
So, Dave, as you know, that all blew.
How is it idiotic? How then shithole is that idiotic? Go ask the Native Americans what they think about the American army. Go ask the Vietnamese what they think about the American army. Go ask the Koreans what they think about the American army. Go ask the Japanese what they think about the American army. Go ask people from, was it Burma? the country beside Vietnam, they did secret operations and go ask, bruv, I don't even know anymore, man. Go ask Afghanistan, go ask Iraq, go ask Syria, Libya, go ask, what else do we got? Bruv, I don't even know anymore, bruv. There's so many countries, bruv. Just go ask those people from those countries, those populations. Just ask the Native Americans what they think about the American army. So yeah, Ben Shitbo, just shut your weird eyebrows and face up, bruv. You look so fucking disgusting, bruv. I don't even know how you got a wife. Honestly, that wife, she gotta be fucking around. No fucking way in hell she's fucking with you.
Up, a lot of debate raged about it. Just, clarify what you meant. Do you regret phrasing it the way you did? Just give us a bit more meat on the bone.
No, I don't regret phrasing it the way I did, and I'll be very clear about what I'm saying. I will point out that it's quite something for Ben Shapiro. Just since you played him, I got to respond to him first.
Course.
That he goes, "Oh, I just won't debate with this guy because this is so beyond the pale." Ben Shapiro made his name debating 19-year-old communist Maoists who were confused about their gender. So somehow, Piers, we're going to have to believe here that I'm so much less serious than the children who Ben Shapiro made a career debating. I loved your response to him where you pointed out some of the goofy segments that he does on his show. I mean, personally, I really stay away from that stuff. And, for Adam, I think to say it's clickbait or that I just want to get out in front of the camera, I think we're all equally in front of a camera right now. And it's kind of weird to accuse someone else. I very much believe the things I'm saying.
Dave,
now, to Adam's point,
Dave, don't run from the comment.
Don't
run from your comment.
I'm trying to
address
get to
the
it, but there's a
comment,
lot
not Ben
here.
Shapiro, would you?
Well,
Good,
yes,
let's go, wrap it up.
No, I'm going to make the points I want to make.
You called the United States military.
You're just slowing. Okay, so
you called the United States military the greatest terror organization in the world.
Adam,
defend.
Just let me answer. No problem. I'm going to go back to the order I was going to go in. To Adam's point, when Adam says I'm a radical libertarian and I say that this is true Americanism, I mean, look, my favorite founding father is Thomas Paine. Not everyone considers him a founding father, and maybe I love him so much because he never held a government position and didn't own slaves, which I thought was pretty cool. But Benjamin Franklin said he was the most consequentialist and the one person most responsible for the United States of America existing. His famous pamphlet that he wrote was called Common Sense, and I think on the first or second line of it, he says, government is at best a necessary evil. So at best, he's like, this is clearly on the anarchist to night watchman state spectrum was what true Americanism was when it started. Now, for me to say what I made the point, I've made this point a million times on your show, Piers. I was saying when people come on and say Iran is the biggest state sponsor of terrorism, well, just like give me an objective definition of what terrorism means, and then let's apply that standard universally. And if you're going to sit here and say, look, America has given billions, tens of billions of dollars to the IDF in the last few years, we've
respect for that. Give us the fucking what you define as terrorism, and let's put everybody to the same standards.
Also, by the way, given a lot of weapons and money here. Your first guest on this
He said it good.
show there, the head of the Obama deep state, was using Al-Qaeda, bin Ladenite head choppers on the ground in Libya and in Syria. And yes, Adam, I would also consider it when our politicians lie us into wars that slaughter millions of innocent people and in many cases target those innocent people. I consider that terrorism as well. There's the answer, Adam. And if you want to keep doing this, buddy, you can tell me to check the scoreboard. I'll run circles around you on this, dude. Check the scoreboard. Most unpopular war in American history going in. Check the scoreboard. 13 dead Americans and 150 plus other wounded. Thousands of innocents, including little schoolgirls in Iran killed, dead innocent Israelis, hundreds of dead innocent people in Lebanon, millions of innocent people being displaced, all at the cost of tens of billions of dollars and destroying Trump's coalition. Check your scoreboard, Adam. How's it looking for you?
Okay, Dave. Okay, it's not working well for you, Dave.
How the fuck could he even say that it wasn't working good for him? He just fucking fact-checked your fucking stupid face and... Bruv, this is... Honestly, we gotta fucking have some integrity in this fucking debate shit. How the fuck you, Piers, man, even for bringing this fucking fool up. You're a fucking clown, honestly. Piers is a fucking clown.
Substantively
you're
respond
still
to any
saying
of that,
the United States... You're saying the United States is a terrorist organization. You've already lost the debate. You live in America, tough guy. You have the luxury of sitting in your little studio with your hooded sweater like you're 17 years old. The regime. You mean all American presidents?
I'm 17
Who's your favorite
years old.
president in the last 50 years?
Adam, I'm
Who's
17 years
who's
old.
Your favorite president in the last 50
I have a
years?
wife and children. Who depends on you, Adam? Your mom?
Okay. I also
I mean,
have
if you want to make it
significant
personal,
other. So you want to
if
go
you wanna
personal?
make it- you have a significant
Dave,
other.
we can
Okay,
go as
anyway,
personal as we can go.
No, I'm
you
trying not to.
We can go as personal as you
Substantively
want.
respond to one thing.
I don't
Adam.
care, Dave.
Adam, some substance.
I don't care.
I know, because you don't know
Dave,
anything.
you're a radical.
So move on. So
Okay.
stop picking a fight with me, dude. You don't
Dave.
know anything about anything. You're Pat's guy.
I know.
And I
Dave,
like
here's
you.
what I-
I
here's-
like you.
here's
I
what
like
I will
your
tell
show.
you.
I respect Pat.
Dave, okay. Zay,
Vinny.
here we go. I'll talk now for a second. I'm defending
That's
the military
the
right now.
guy. That's the fucking guy. Patrick Davidson, the little rat. That's his fucking buddy. I got it. Yeah, that's true. That's the fucking annoying guy. Yeah, man. Screw that guy, man. He's a son of a bitch.
You're basically saying that all our boys that go to the military are all terrorists. That's what you're saying.
No.
You're
Yeah,
quit-
they are. Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. That is why American military break them and then reassemble them to be fucking moronic fucking killers, fucking idiots. Just look up your boot camps. They're fucking... Listen. You don't build a soldier by yelling at him, degrading him, fucking breaking him, and forming him how you want to, and make his psyche a fucking... I don't know, bruv. That's not how you make a soldier. That's how you make a robot. That's how you make a fucking MK Ultra fucking zombie. Bro, this is so fucking retarded, bro. It's so fucking retarded. Just go up, look American boot camps, and just see how the fuck they're acting. This is not anywhere else in the world. I don't know about Russia and all of this shit. But any sophisticated military with respect for themselves don't train the soldiers like that.
that the United States of America, the IDF, are the equivalent of ISIS and Al Qaeda. By the way, I also used to respect you
Yes, they
until you went on a little podcast called Coleman Hughes. What happened on that podcast, Dave? This is the problem. I'll tell you a
Why
quick
don't you do
story.
it right
When I
now,
moved to-
Adam?
when I-
Why don't you do it?
I'll do it right now, Dave. I'll do it right now.
for
Because
it.
here's what Dave is. Here's Dave Smith. By the way, 1% of Americans vote for libertarians every year. So you're trying to basically say that you know more than the average American. 1% of Americans vote for your people, Dave. Why don't you run for something? Why don't you stand for something? You stand for nothing.
Okay, can I respond? Again, Pierce, this is the level of substance.
No. Here we go. I'm going to tell you a
Okay.
story, Dave, and then you can respond. Because this is where I lost respect for you as a debater. Because I was like, oh, this guy Dave, he actually knows some stuff. He's doing his thing. And then you showed up on Coleman Hughes' podcast. Pierce, do you know who Coleman Hughes is?
I do. He's been on the show.
I've been on the show with him.
Perfect. That's this guy right here, just in case, if the camera doesn't see.
But what is the point you're making?
I watched this podcast. The point is this. Dave gets out there and he tries to bully people and say that he's so smart. He reads a lot of books. Good for you, Dave. But what happens when you read it to somebody, run into somebody who's way smarter and bullies the bully? I remember growing up in this town of Miami, so there was this kid that used to pick on all the kids that we went to school with. And one day,
What the fuck is this fucking retard talking about? Listen, we are talking about facts. About fucking Iran, fucking America war. And the fucking Israelis getting the whole fucking world riled up because they're fucking retarded fucking idiots. And now this guy is talking about some bully in Miami. Listen, I hope that bully fucked you in the ass, bro.
new kid showed up and he goes, oh, yeah, let's go, buddy. Let's do this. And the bully goes, oh, what do you mean? What do you want to do? And he goes, no, yeah, you want to fight everybody? You want to take everybody's lunch? Let's go. And the new kid beat the crap out of the bully. And here's what happened with Dave. He's out there just doing his little podcast thing, debating, like you said, Ben Shapiro, 19-year-olds. And then all of a sudden, this whole conversation about Wesley Clark, and I saw him on your podcast about a week ago, Piers, and this memo, here you go, Dave. Remember this memo from Wesley Clark that you used to
you brought
cite
a prop?
everything?
This is
that you used
adorable.
to cite? Yeah. That is adorable
Okay.
because
Can
your whole
when do I get to
foundation is
respond?
based on some memo.
Well,
Your whole
I'm not
foundation
quite
is
sure
based on
what,
some memo.
Adam, I'm not quite sure what is the point you're making.
The point is this: Dave has zero credibility at this point. Dave has zero credibility.
you don't
at this
really
point.
get to decide
And he
that.
ran
You know, the
into
people- the
somebody
audience gets
that
to decide
completely
that.
bullied. What audience?
Okay.
The four
Well,
people
can
that show
I
up to your comedy
respond?
show at the
Yeah. Okay,
Sure,
Dave, you respond.
Okay. Can I respond now because I listened while
I mean,
you
the
said
question I'd
nothing
ask you,
there.
Dave. The question I'd ask you, Dave, is the way that you're.
Well, let me respond to some of that.
I
Pierce.
will, yeah.
mean,
But I just want to ask you, just on a general level.
How are you going to respond to what Coleman Hills did to you? There was like a body bag after that
Let
debate.
him respond.
Well, you ain't doing nothing,
Go for
bro.
it.
You're sitting here talking about what another man did.
Let me
You've
just-
already been in a body
Anyway.
bag, Dave. I'm here to clean up the scraps.
Okay, let me just ask Dave this, which is, as you know, the comment you made about America being a terrorist state and so on, that went pretty viral. Do you understand why a lot of people got very angry about the perceived equivalence between America and terror organizations like ISIS, like Al-Qaeda.
You know why people got mad? Because he got something to say. He got an audience. He got people listening to him. And that is why the establishment got a little sad, butthurt. Don't get butthurt for hearing the truth. America is a terrorist state. And honestly, America, Russia, and China, and other countries, if they act foolish, should be cut up and this made into states and smaller countries, because obviously super states, super countries, super powers, they don't know how to act anymore, and they have never known how to act, and we as the people need to choose where we want this world to go. And there's not room enough for everything. You can't have a superpower and have peace in the world. All the superpowers gotta get dissolved, and the people need to take over the power, self-govern, no fucking taxes, healthcare free, schooling free, bruv. I don't even want to hear shit anymore, bruv. Listen, we are living in a fucking robot society now. We got robots, we got fucking automated fucking production. I don't want to hear shit, bro. Everybody is able to just chill and have fun and good time. So all these elites, listen up. You're gonna end up with no money, and your money gonna be worthless, and the people will take the power. Finish. This is how it's gonna be.
And so on.
Yeah, no, well, listen, I mean, there's no question that the head
I don't
chopping...
think he does, but go ahead.
Hey, Adam, I mean, just let me talk now. I understand all you can do here is interrupt and hold up props or something, but let me make a few good points.
I'm just, you said that America is a terrorist organization. You've already lost the debate. Go ahead.
No, I haven't actually, and that's not, you don't really get to decide in the middle of the debate whether I have. It's who moves people more than the other one is really, I guess, the metric. But
you're 1% libertarian. You're really moving people. You're really moving people.
I mean, Adam, I understand this will just be your tactic for the rest of it because you're out of, and you're just out of your depth. But here, okay, yes, actually, I didn't vote for the Libertarian nominee.
Go ahead,
Donald Trump came to the Libertarian Party convention and tried to convince a lot of us to support him, and I'm one of the people who did, and now I'm one of the people who's criticizing this policy. Now, in terms of, obviously, Piers, it's a provocative statement. I know that when I make it, and I'm not claiming that the American military men are the equivalent of ISIS or Al-Qaeda. Obviously, they're much more barbaric. These head choppers, the one who Leon Panetta and...
No. The American army is more disgusting than any group or anything. And it's factual. Just look at what they did to the civilian population in Germany after World War II. Just look at what they did to the civilian population in Korea. Just look what they did to the civilian population in Vietnam, in Japan, in wherever they fucking put their feet, what they did to the civilian population. So I don't want to hear this shit.
And Barack Obama.
The American army is a terrorist army, and that is what they are. That is also why they take in young boys in the 18s, 19s. They break them down mentally. They break them. Look at the boot camp videos. They break them down mentally by yelling at them, sleep depriving them, physically hard, not like going out and beating them, but doing physically demanding things, not giving enough sleep. It is the perfect MK Ultra operation they got going on the American soldiers, kids. When they get into boot camp, they get brainwashed. They break them down psychologically, physically, and then they program their minds how they should be thinking. That's it. A real army is not about who can take orders the best. A real army is who can get the results. Who's gonna jump behind the enemy lines and take down the enemy lines? Who's gonna, with his fucking little squad, go behind the enemy lines and do things so the enemies get confused? It's not about orders. if you think it's about others, you're never gonna win a war. Because chain of command, forget that shit. Of course, there's a chain of command, but when it's war, there's no chain of command. Then it's the boys, the guys. And these zombie shits who America is producing, they ain't fucking worth the pot they're pissing in.
Obama all sold weapons to and partnered with, and the one who Donald Trump recognized as the president of Syria. I'm not saying that one isn't more barbaric than the other. I'm simply making the point, Piers, that if you define terrorism as targeting civilians in order to affect a political change, then by that objective definition, the U.S. military and the IDF are more guilty of it than anyone else over the last 25 years.
Their argument is always that the U.S. military and the IDF do not deliberately target civilians.
Yes, Pierce, but again,
I'm just saying, for the benefit of fairness,
that's not
this
true.
is their argument. Whereas the difference being that genuine terror groups like ISIS, like Al Qaeda, they deliberately.
ISIS was created by America, Europe, and Israel. Stop fucking talking about ISIS, man. We know who created it. The same with Al Qaeda. We know who created it. It was America. It was Mossad and Israel and Europe. Stop fucking lying, bro. I don't know why the fuck you're lying all the time.
And brazenly target civilians for political purposes.
Pierce, when you have roaming blackouts for 9 days in Cuba because we've embargoed the enemy.
If it's not true, then come out with all the documents that is redacted. Come out with 9/11 documents that are redacted. Why are you hiding the truth? The American people are dumb sheep, nothing else. Honestly, you Americans are fucking dumb, bro. Just your country is shit. Your population are sheep. That's basically it, bro.
Energy that can go there. I'm sorry, that is targeting the civilian population. When Hamas slow rolls the remains of dead Israeli prisoners, whatever, I don't know, I get in trouble for using the wrong word. The dead Israelis that they were holding captive, even after all the live ones are out, and the response from the Israeli government is we're going to cut the aid to the civilian population in half, that is targeting civilians. And when you drop bombs all over cities and you know that innocent civilians are going to be killed, that's targeting civilians. Now, as far as some of the other stuff here, look, in terms of the debate with Coleman, I encourage people to go watch that. It's only people who already disagreed with me going in who say I got body bagged there. The rest of the people tend to say, it was a kind of a good, respectful back and forth, and both people had some moments. But for Adam to say I only debated children up until Coleman, I debated Dennis Prager, I debated Douglas Murray, I debated Josh Hammer at an Oxford-style debate at Princeton University and absolutely smoked him on the Oxford-style voting. I debated him again at Charlie Kirk's event. I've been coming on this show. How many debates have me and you done, Piers? I've been willing to debate whoever wants to debate this subject for over 2 years now. And so to say that I'm just being Ben Shapiro and going around to college campuses and debating 19-year-old dudes in wigs claiming to be women, it's just not true, man. I debated Chris Cuomo right in front of you, Adam, the biggest host at CNN. So I just think this is ridiculous. Coleman made some, listen, I'm not going to say a negative thing about Coleman. He didn't attack me. He went at the issues, and I really appreciate and respect that. I've actually been trying to host him on my podcast. I hope he'll do it. Okay, Adam, your response.
Yeah, and listen, I do respect the fact that Dave does show up.
He does.
I mean, that's like, okay, cool, you showed up. Respect to that. I will give Dave credit. But Dave, and this is why I'm going to keep going back to this, to pretend that it was an even match, an even debate, he put you in a body bag and you're out here still doubling down on all your positions when he went methodically and surgically.
This is the saddest thing. I've never been in a debate where someone just fell back to someone else's debate. Boom, boom, boom. Name one of the booms. Make the point for yourself. Me and you are supposed to be debating here, brother.
The memo from Wesley Clark. The memo from Wesley Clark. Your whole foundation for your Israel. So listen up, little guy. So your whole foundation for Israel dragging America into war.
This is not the debate. This guy, he ruined this whole show. He ruined it. You know why? Because he's not debating. He's not coming with arguments. He's not coming with facts. He's not coming with something he analyzed. No. This guy is just insulting this guy. And I don't know why the fuck Piers Morgan don't get this shit under control. Maybe because he likes to hear this guy. Maybe Piers Morgan, he's a little fruity. Piers, are you fruity? Is that why you like to hear this guy's voice talking shit? Because that arouses you, the shit. God damn,
was that
bro.
this memo from Wesley Clark showed up, and that's the reason that America got suckered into the Iraq War because Israel convinced him to do it. And he went and surgically and methodically and very calmly was like, Dave, you don't know what you're talking about. Your entire foundation crumbled. And you're dipping,
so
you're doing your little
can
thing,
I respond?
or you're drinking your
Can I
nicotine.
respond to this?
So, but the point is this: your Holland's
Man, you
Opus,
are
this
really
3-hour debate with Coleman Hughes, it wasn't close, Dave. And that's fine. You want to sort of be a revisionist
that's your opinion.
and say, you know
No,
what,
I'm not being
we
revisionist.
went point
It's
for point. No, Dave, that was any person with logic because you didn't have a response. Your only response was,
this is so
go read the
ridiculous,
book.
dude.
Adam, it is an unusual position to spend.
It's not ridiculous.
Adam, it's an unusual position that I've had you guys
Because
on.
that
I've
was
had
the
you guys
aha
on to
moment for
debate
me,
so far.
where I
You
said,
did-
this guy is
But
actually a lightweight. He's actually a lightweight.
Adam,
Well,
my point to you,
this is
Adam,
that moment for you for a lot of people, Adam.
my
So
point
congratulations.
My point to you, Adam, would simply be it's an unusual debating strategy to spend 10 minutes of this debate talking about another debate that most viewers may not see.
Yes, it's
I mean,
pretty
there's
ridiculous.
other debates that we can bring up. The fact, Dave, when's the last time you were in the
Go
Middle
ahead.
East?
Oh, okay, so this is
I'm
what we're
asking
falling back to now. Yeah, right. No, you know
Just
the answer.
answer
You're
the
not
question.
asking. I've answered
don't
it a
know
million
the
times,
answer.
and you know the. I have not been to the Middle East. Go do your best Douglas Murray acting
Okay.
job.
So-
Adam, brother, I was prepared
You've
to come
never
in here on
been,
friendly
right?
terms.
So why
You are
I
humiliating
don't care
yourself
if you're
right
going to
now,
be friends.
dude.
I'm really
you're
not.
humiliating
Dave,
yourself right now.
You've
Yeah,
been
you are.
humiliating yourself for the past 2 years. Basically saying that America's a
Okay.
terrorist organization, that the IDF is
Yes,
a
we got
terrorist
that.
organization, and you're whitewashing actual terrorism. What are your thoughts on Islamic terrorism coming into the West? What are your thoughts on the war in the West? What do you think of
It's
ISIS?
a huge.
What do you think of the Muslim
Are you
Brotherhood,
asking me
Dave?
questions?
Go ahead.
It's a huge.
I'm asking you a
risk.
question.
And it's a huge risk, especially right now after we just murdered an Ayatollah and his whole family.
What's a huge risk?
Terrorism
What's a huge risk?
blowback terrorism is a
I'm
huge
not
problem,
asking,
and having
Dave,
not
so
secure
you-
borders
nice try.
is a nightmare
Nice
of a
try.
policy.
I'm not talking
yes,
about.
I'm very
I'm
concerned
not talking about
terrorism.
blowback terrorism. Do you see what's going on in the West? Do you see what's going on where Piers Morgan lives in London? Do you see what's going on all over the
I've been
world?
an advocate
Why are
of
you
strict
whitewashing
immigration
terrorism?
controls for many years.
by the
I'm
way,
not doing
by the
that.
way,
You're just
the-
making stuff up because you have nothing, dude.
by the way,
Brother, you
I'm
have
not making it-
nothing
you
here, man.
just said
Adam,
that
wait,
America
Adam.
is a terrorist organization.
Adam, if you brought my country
He's
into it,
anti-American,
Adam,
and here I am
Adam,
as a proud American
Adam,
saying that he doesn't know what he's talking
You
about.
said that Dave
God.
couldn't talk about the Middle East because he hasn't been there much. When was the last time you were in England?
I spent much time in England. My ex-wife was
When was
Welsh.
the last
She
time?
wasn't a sheep shagger.
When was the last time?
The last time I was in Europe, in England, in the Middle East, where would you like me to go?
No, England.
The last time I was in England was about 8 years ago.
Right. So this idea, let me
The
tell
last
you.
time I was in Israel.
Let me tell you.
The last
this
time I was in
idea-
Israel
This
was
idea
3 years
that-
ago.
Adam,
there is
dude,
a
I almost
weird,
feel
there is a
bad.
weird
Pierce,
idea.
do we have to put this episode
No,
out?
here's
I
the
like
weird-
Adam.
There
We
is
don't
a
have to
weird
air this
idea.
out.
Adam. There are many people.
Are you
on the-
saying that
Hang
not
on,
going to
hang
a
on.
country?
Adam, many people,
Go ahead, Piers.
hang on. Many people on the conservative right in America seem to be under the illusion that my country has been taken over by radical Muslims. Let me tell you, I have lived here on and off for the last 8 years, unlike you, and respectfully, we have not been taken over by radical Muslims. It just hasn't happened the way it's being sold by people like Tommy Robinson to Americans, and you're all
So
lapping it up.
how would you define it then, Piers? How would you define it then, Piers?
I think we have a Muslim population which is predominantly peaceful and inclusive and settled well, and we have some radical members of radical Muslims, as we have radical members of other religions in this country, and we have to be very wary about it.
What other members of radical? What other members of radical religions?
Hang on. And
Go
we have had severe immigration control issues run by successive Conservative and Labour governments who frankly lost control of our border, both to illegal immigration, but also allowed way too many people in legally. And these are proper, legitimate things to be discussed. But framing it, as some people like to do, as my country's been overrun and overtaken by radical Muslims, is just a lie. It's just not true. So yes, there are things to be concerned about, and yes, I want to see everyone who comes here assimilate, and everyone who lives here assimilate into our culture.
Listen, I can't take this guy serious, bro.
Of course I do.
This guy is so cross-eyed, it's fucking horrible, bro. He's so this side is going this way, the other is going that way, bro. Bruv, this guy is just an idiot. And Piers, honestly, I gotta respect that. Honestly, this time, Piers, he's just talking the truth, bro. It's like, yeah, bruv. Honestly, this American fucking talking points that Britain is taken over by Muslims, it's just idiotic, bruv. It's so idiotic, it's fucking incredible idiotic. It's especially retarded to even believe it. So honestly, respect to Piers for setting this guy straight. Honestly.
Do. But this idea that we've been overrun and overtaken is nonsense.
Yeah, Piers, can I just make
So
one?
you think it's all
sensitive
going out of
point
proportion?
on
Everything
the way
that everybody is saying about Sharia law being
listen,
imposed in
I certainly-
London
look,
and
me and-
Birmingham.
It hasn't been
You're saying that
imposed
it's
here.
overblown?
It hasn't been imposed here.
Okay, anyway.
There are
You're saying,
18
you're saying that it's
There are
Dave,
a
I'm
number of
talking to Piers. Give it a
unofficial
second,
Sharia
guy.
courts operating. They have no legal basis or standing in the UK whatsoever. There is no Sharia law being operated legally in this country. End. It doesn't
Thank
happen.
you, Piers. Thank you for enlightening me. So you're saying it's all overblown, that
Why don't you come
Islamification
over,
of the
come over
West
with the whole
is overblown?
PBD team and let me take you on a guided tour of the UK, and trust me, you'll be fine.
There you
I'm
go.
sure you're
I'll
going to
treat you
all
to-
the
I'll
nicest
treat you
places,
to
and definitely
pints of
one of
foaming
the
ale,
most dangerous
the fish
places,
and
Piers.
chips, to
I'm
cricket.
sure you're not going to Birmingham or Brick Lane or anything like that.
I love Brick Lane,
Okay.
best curries in
But Dave,
England. I love Birmingham, fantastic place.
Incredible Bangladeshi curry.
I'll take you there.
Back to my central thesis here is that Dave thinks that the United States military and the IDF are the equivalent of the Ayatollah and the Hezbollahs
All
and
right,
Hamas.
you made that point. Dave, final
Is that what
point
you're
to
saying?
you.
I know.
Final point
listen,
to
I mean,
Dave.
I think we all kind of agree that like open borders and lack of immigration restrictions are not very sound policy, and that those ought to not be in place. But I do just want to say to the, I guess, almost brushed up against.
Isn't that what
the substantive
libertarians believe in, though? Don't
Nope,
libertarians
not me.
believe in open borders, Dave?
Let him finish.
Anyway, let me just finish one point, Adam. Since you have nothing to say, just let me finish the point. Anyway, no, libertarians
I've already
don't
said
believe
what
in
I've
that.
had to
I certainly
say.
don't.
You've been in a body bag for about a year
so then
now.
let me finish. Yeah, great. Okay, I've been in a
Go
body
ahead.
bag anyway. Let's see what the
He's out of the
reaction
body
to this
bag
one
now.
is. Let's see what the reaction to this debate is. Okay, we'll take a look at that when it comes out.
Sure.
Anyway, but the idea that
We
my
can gladly do
argument-
that.
Great.
You're defending
Good one. Okay, so
terrorism,
my-
and you think
okay,
the United States is a terrorist organization.
Yeah, right.
Let's see what
the
rational
reaction.
MAGA
Okay.
people think. Go ahead, Dave.
Let's see. Okay. Anyway, the idea that you're making the point that the General Wesley Clark thing has been torn apart, and that was my entire case for Israel trying to push America into these wars is absolutely ridiculous. There's much more to it than that, and that point hasn't been torn apart. Piers, is anyone going to seriously argue that Israel trying to push us into this war with Iran isn't a factor? As Benjamin Netanyahu, the longest-serving prime minister in Israeli history, brags about how this is the culmination of his entire life's work.
Not just that.
He's been advocating this for my entire life.
Well, Marco
Come
Rubio,
It's
Secretary of
ridiculous.
State, said it very clearly that America preemptively got involved in the strikes because Israel were going to attack Iran, and so America thought there would be revenge attacks against American interests and got in first.
And Netanyahu's been coming here every other week to try to lobby Trump into this war.
Guys,
and
I've
pretend
got
that
you
Israel
guys are
is a
saying that
major
Trump-
influence here.
You guys are saying that Trump is that
Adam, I have to bring this to an
big
end.
of a buffoon that he
I
just
would love
gets
to
dragged into
continue
wars.
this. Please
Nice
come,
try.
Adam,
Nice
come
try,
back again
Dave.
another time. I'd love having you on. Dave, always good to see you. I've sadly got to
Thank
leave
you,
you there, but I appreciate it both very much. Thank you.
Enjoy
Allah
that body
Akbar,
bag,
Dave. Allah
Adam.
Akbar.
Enjoy that body bag.
Allah
Look out for the
Akbar,
comment
Dave.
section.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Allah Akbar, buddy.
Well, thanks to David Adam. I'm joined now by Bill O'Reilly, the host of No Spin News and author of Confronting Evil. Bill, welcome back to Uncensored.
Honestly, this other guy who was brought in, Patrick Davis's fuck buddy, he fucking destroyed the whole debate. He got no fucking facts. He talked about the other debate. Who the fuck cares about the other debate, bro? You're speaking about something totally different now. So, just a waste of time waster. That guy was a time waster, honestly.
You expect me to follow that, Morgan? Come on. Yeah, I mean, really, you know, this isn't a shot at anybody, but this is just for your audiences. Look, there's so much propaganda and misinformation that flows from people who are trying to get attention or make money on social media that it's almost impossible for regular folks who live their lives and have families and trying to do the right thing to know the truth. So I'm glad you have me on, because this is the educational portion of the Piers Morgan program where we back up everything we say. We don't get into these insane conspiracies or talk off the cuff. We know what we're talking about. So thanks for having me back.
Bill, always great to have you. You know that. The Iran war, what is your overview about where we are? And do you think that Donald Trump miscalculated how Iran would respond, in particular in relation to the economic war they've been waging with the Straits of Hormuz and the way they've attacked the Gulf, neighboring Gulf states with their oil refineries and with tourist spots and so on?
Okay, I'm going to do a stair step here. In every single war that's ever been fought in the history of mankind, there have been miscalculations. Every one. Because the fog of war cliche is true. Once you start to unleash violence on a mass level, you can't predict what will happen. And mistakes are always made by the victors and the people who lose. So that's history. Now, I did an interview with Lindsey Graham on my podcast called We'll Do It Live. That can be seen everywhere. BillO'Reilly.com is where we live. And it's probably the best informational, interview ever done on the subject of the Iranian action. Because Graham, although he is a hawk, is privy to A, intel information on a daily basis, and B, has Trump's ear, speaks to him all the time. Graham laid out why the administration did what it did. Now, you can disagree with it, you can think it's foolish, but the facts are that there was a reason to do this, and the reason still has been undefined. So the messaging of the reason wasn't really put out there so the world could consume it. Graham did that in my 1-hour conversation to him, very precisely. So if you really wanted to know why America attacked Iran and Israel as our ally, you listen to that. All right? And it's unimpeachable. Nobody has said, oh, he's not telling the truth. Oh, this isn't true. It is true. Now, as far as calculating cause and effect, yeah, I mean, it struck me that the Trump administration should have anticipated a problem in the Strait of Hormuz and might have bombed that area to make it more difficult for the Iranians to attack the tankers. But I'm second guessing now American and Israeli intel and the Pentagon, and I'm not really qualified to second guess it. But as an American, that's a legitimate question. The one factor that hasn't been reported or discussed is China. China gets 80% of Iran's oil. Did you know that, Piers?
Yeah.
80%. China's lifeline is Putin and Iran for 1.5 billion people to have energy.
Nope.
Trump has to take that into account. That is an enormous factor here. You have not heard China say much about Iran. They certainly haven't stuck up for the mullahs. They have not. So I suspect, in addition to the negotiations that are taking place between the United States and Iran, and nobody knows who's in charge in Iran, other negotiations very secretly are being done between Washington and Beijing. That would have to happen because it's so volatile. China is not going to allow itself to be starved of energy.
But explain to me how any of this is consistent with Donald Trump, the presidential candidate in 2024, saying that he would not take America into any more senseless Middle Eastern wars because they were way too expensive, both on economy and human life, that he would focus on America first, sorting out the problems in America. He'd make it secure at the border, which he's done to his credit, and that he would bring the cost of living down and he would reduce inflation and get rid of it. How does any of what he's done with Iran tick any of those boxes? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like he's done the complete opposite to what he campaigned on.
Well, you're asking a very legitimate question, but things change. So the threat level in Iran changed. And the information, and Graham spelled this out again in the podcast I did with him, was that, yes, the United States destroyed about 75% of the Iranian nuclear capacity last June, but they were weeks away from enriching uranium now so that they could make a nuclear weapon, a low-level one if they wanted, and hand it off. Trump got that intel. Then he got intel from Mossad, from Israel, that all the mullahs are going to be in one place at one time. This was after 6 weeks of negotiation where the Iranians basically said to the Americans, hey, blank you, gave us the middle finger. We're going to do what we want. We don't care what you say. Now, I talked to Donald Trump myself, one-on-one, private conversation on the phone, 1 week before the U.S. military action was launched. And that entire conversation was about making a deal. Trump did not want to do this. He didn't want to use military action. And we discussed various ways that a deal might happen. My emphasis was on Beijing, okay? Get them in a position where we'll help them in a way that they need, China, in return for they pressure the mullahs to give up their nuclear construction. That was my idea, okay? But then, in the final meeting in Geneva with Witkoff and the Iranian representatives, okay, Iran said, look, there's no sense in talking any further. We're not going to stop. Now, when you say that to President Trump, what do you think's going to happen? He's not remembering what his campaign slogan was. He's saying these guys are serious. They're going to build a nuke, and I believe that.
Okay, this guy is a cockwriter. He like a dick in his ass. He's a boy toy. This guy, he got Trump's orange thing inside him so hard that he became orange. This guy, Honestly, I like YouTube, but this you can't say too much, else they strike your videos. So yeah, this guy, he's just a fucking warmongering son of a bitch. Listen, let's be honest, everybody. None of us want war, but these elite motherfuckers, they don't give a fuck, man. Their kids are not going and dying. Their kids are sitting, fucking banging, drinking, having fun, smoking, driving new cars, while you fucking idiots are going out fighting their wars. So you maybe can get back after, I don't know, get back after a deployment after 6 months if you're lucky. Get back and buy a fucking cow with that money. That's you, bro. That's you guys in America, bro. Honestly, this guy is a fucking idiot. And I don't know even what to say anymore, man. You American guys, either you fucking control this, your fucking administrations and your fucking shit, or else the rest of the world is gonna stop America and just abolish it and put in the states as countries. And the same with Russia. If you don't get your acts together, the same thing is gonna happen to you. The same thing is gonna happen to China and every country who can't act right and thinks it's a superpower, untouchable. It will be brought down.
They'll use it. And I'm not taking the chance. And I got to, when the call came in, all of them are going to be in the same place. We're going to go knock them out. I would have done the same thing. How about you?
Well, I think, again, there's an inconsistency, I would argue, between the rhetoric that followed the 12-day war last summer, where everyone was assured we've neutralized the nuclear threat from Iran, and within 9-10 months, apparently it's all been rejuvenated. I find I just think, but some part of that, Bill, some part of that argument doesn't ring true. Either it wasn't true when they first said it, or it wasn't true in February. They can't both be true.
If you can show me a quote where they said all of Iranians' nuclear weapon capacity has been destroyed, I will see the point. I can't find that quote.
Not all, but they made it. They made it clear. See, let me hypothesize.
They made it clear that they badly harmed Iran's ability to do it.
That's true.
But there were other labs working on the same thing that were not destroyed.
But let me offer you a different hypothesis, which I'm not saying necessarily I subscribe to this, but just hear me out, which is that the 12-day war, a bit like the strike on Venezuela to get rid of Maduro, the 12-day war was incredibly precise, incredibly successful, almost zero damage to any American personnel or interests, fantastically successful, and notable for the very muted response from the Iranians. And I think you then move to what happened in Venezuela. Again, very precise military strike, no loss of life to American service people. The capture of the Venezuelan president, taken to custody in New York, a brilliant success again. I think Trump was riding high off the back of that. And I think the Israelis were pushing hard. Yes, we've got the Ayatollah here with all these people. If we decapitate the regime, it'll be exactly like Venezuela. You'll neutralize this problem. And I think Trump decided to go for it. And I think as he looks at it now, he realized that this is a very, very different situation to Venezuela. I think they've miscalculated just how skillfully, and I use that purely as a description of, I think, how their strategy has been, how skillfully the Iranians have controlled the Straits of Hormuz and how they have attacked their Gulf neighbors to get them in line as well and make tourists fearful and make expats want to leave, how they've attacked refineries there in response to their own refineries being attacked, and that's been incredibly destabilizing to the Gulf states. I think you put it all together, and I think Donald Trump has, I've been a long time like you, I think he's reached a point with this where it's gone way bigger than he calculated, way longer than he thought it would go, and that he has underestimated Iran's ability to not fight back militarily, but to fight back economically. And that is going to be politically toxic for him. And he now needs an off-ramp. And the question then becomes, what is the off-ramp which looks like victory? And I think it's a tricky one. I really do, to claim a victory if the Iranian regime remains in place, and if you see no uprising from the Iranian people, and if America does not get a commitment to either hand over the enriched uranium or goes in and gets it, which would be boots on the ground, which would be disastrous. I don't see any easy off-ramp here. Do you?
Well, no. But you're spouting a theory.
Yeah.
It may be right, but it doesn't jibe with what my information flow is, because as I said, Trump didn't want this military action. It wasn't his arrogance that, oh, I kicked Venezuela's butt, so now I can do the same thing to Iran. I mean, he would have told me if you wanted it. That's what we would have discussed, how to go about it militarily. That's not what we discussed. It was how to get a deal. So going forward, here's how I see it. Iran's going to have to make a deal because Trump's not going to stop. And if he has to lose the midterms, he'll...
This guy is delusional. This guy is living in a whole nother dimension. This guy should go to the doctors, to the shrink, and get diagnosed with delusionalism. That he's delusional. That he has delusions. Bruv, which fucking planet do you live on to even fucking say that statement? Are you fucking dumb? Are you fucking dumb? Trump has asked for ceasefires 100 times. He sent envoys. He sent other people from other countries, other state people, other fucking embassies, people from embassies from different countries. The Iranians are saying, this is the terms. Either surrender and give, this is the terms, or else there's nothing to talk about. So I don't know where this guy, which dimension, illusional fantasy world he's living in, but the whole world fucking knows it. Only America spews this stupid shit, and Britain and European stupid countries.
lose the midterms. Remember, he didn't have to run again. Okay? He's not stopping. He's not going to say, oh, we lost, ever. That's number one. So the deal is going to look like Iran will allow weapons inspectors in, probably from the UN, to examine what's going on with the nukes. They'll stop enriching, and they will destroy their ballistic missile capacity, which is already almost destroyed. So we're only talking about a few missiles. Okay, in return, there'll be more favorable economic treatment for Iran on a rebuild basis. Trump knows he's not going to get regime change, so that's, you know, he can saber rattle on it, but that's not going to happen unless the Persian people rise up. And, you know, with these people gunning you down in the street, you know, you're a student of history a little bit, Piers. In 1945, when the Russians were coming in from the east and the Allies coming in from the west to Berlin, the German people didn't rise up against Hitler. Nobody rose up against Hitler in Germany because the...
No, of course, because you bombed them. You fucking bombed them. Let's just talk about all the bombing, bruv. People were dead, bruv. People lived in fucking ruins. You bombed them. You couldn't go in, bruv. What are you talking about? You bombed their asses. You killed the civilian populations. What are you talking about?
SS would shoot you down in the street. It's the same thing going on in Iran.
That's not true, man. You had to fight all the way. You had to fight all the way. Even in Berlin, they were fighting until it fall. So what are you talking about, you fucking stupid retard?
So likely, and I think within a space of a couple of weeks, this thing will cease and some kind of an arrangement will be made so that the mullahs can tell their people they didn't lose, and Trump can tell his people they won. We won. America won. That's what's likely to happen.
Bill O'Reilly, I will invite you back in 2 weeks' time, and we shall see.
If I'm not deported, I may be in Portugal.
You know what? You'll be even nearer to me, Bill. Get on a plane to London.
Yeah.
Great to have you.
We're coming to England at the end of May, and you're going to do an interview with me. I'm telling you, you're going to do, or I'm coming to your house about this Muslim intrusion on London.
Let's talk about it.
Okay, so you're in, right?
I'm happy to talk about that.
All right, excellent. We'll set it on up. Thanks for having me on the program.
And I'd love to see you on the set of Uncensored while you're here. It'd be great.
Okay.
Bill, great to have you. Thanks very much. Well, Jesse Ventura is a former US Navy SEAL, a former professional wrestler, a former actor, and a former governor of Minnesota. We've had many memorable interviews over the years. I'm pleased to say he joins me again now. Jesse, how are you?
I'm doing good, Piers. It's been a long time for you and I. I tried to retire, but, well, I tried to retire, but unfortunately...
God damn, man, Jesse, he looks old, bro. God damn, bro. This guy, he's a great guy. I got a lot of respect for this guy. He's a real one.
They sent the Gestapo to my high school and they hit it with chemical weapons, which are a war crime. And that brought me back out of retirement to stand up against the war criminal in the White House.
Wow. Well, that sounds suitably dramatic.
Well, that's the way it happened. I mean, I was retired. I hadn't watched the news since the last election. My son said, "You're way better, Dad. You're not tense anymore. Keep it up." And then lo and behold, these ICE characters, I call them the Gestapo, and I think I can do that. And let me get something straight right now, Piers, so people know where I'm coming from. My Uncle Emil fought in World War I. My parents both fought in World War II. My father had 6 bronze battle stars in Europe. My mother was a nurse in North Africa, which predated Normandy, fighting Rommel, the Desert Fox, the greatest German general. Both my parents were World War II veterans. My brother and I are both Vietnam veterans and member of the Navy UDT SEAL. We both did 2 tours to Southeast Asia. So everyone in my family is a war veteran. I wanted to get that out right now so it'll help with the things that I'm going to say to you in the moments to come.
So ICE agents came to your school, you said?
What's that?
You said the ICE agents came to your school?
Yeah, the ICE agents came to the school where I went to high school, chasing some guy down just like the Gestapo. And I heard people were offended calling them that. Really? I can tell you right now, if my parents would have been alive and they would have seen what happened in Minneapolis, they would have called it the Gestapo too. So they come to my school, they use tear gas and pepper spray at the school. Now, here's a question I have, Piers. My Uncle Emil fought in World War I, and he was gassed. He came home, but his life was ruined. He could never do anything. What did they do? They outlawed it. Gas using chemical weapons became a war crime. Why is it that you can't use them on your enemy, but you're allowed to use them on your own people? That has always been, where is the media on this? You know, using chemical weapons against our own people, which is in essence a war crime.
Well, I think I wouldn't describe the gas used by ICE agents as chemical weapons. I mean, that infers weapons of mass
It's tear
destruction.
gas. They're spraying people from 6 inches away right in their face. I can't use that in war. I wasn't allowed to carry tear gas or any type of chemical weapon in war. It's banned from war. It's considered a war crime. You can't use it against your enemy, but you can use it against your own people. Doesn't something ring wrong there for?
Yep. Jesse, he's on the point, and Piers Morgan, he's a fucking boy toy. Honestly, I hate fucking Piers. I hate him. I don't like him, man. He's a fucking special need retard, bro.
For you, Piers?
Well, a lot rang wrong about what was going on in Minnesota, and I'm very glad that it has been resolved, at least for now. And I think
It
Donald
hasn't
Trump...
been resolved.
Well, no, not
Piers,
completely, but
nothing's been resolved.
No, I understand,
We have 2 dead people here.
Yeah, I
2
know.
people were killed by the Gestapo here.
Yeah, I understand. And those investigations are ongoing, but at least the ICE activity that was going on and the way it was being conducted has been removed from Minnesota, which is a good thing. And I thought what happened was appalling. And I said so at the time. Let me ask you about Iran and your view of this war.
Well, here's how I feel about it. There's a simple thing as a leader, and you know this having been in the military. Trump wouldn't know it because he's a draft-dodging coward. But anyway, it's this. A war is justified if you're willing to send your kids. Because how can you send somebody else's kids to a war if you won't send your own? So I'm calling right now for Barron Trump, Donald Trump's son. You know, after all, he's had 3 wives, he's had kids by each wife, and nobody's ever served in the military. To my knowledge, a Trump in the last 100 years has never done military service. Well, Barron, you can change that. Enlist in the United States military right now. Do something your father didn't have the courage to do. Do something your father didn't have the patriotism to do. I want to see a Trump in the military. Everybody in my family has served, so I think I can say that with all due confidence. Come on, Trumps. Don't just reap the benefits of this free world. Somebody put on the uniform, and that's you, Barron. And I heard the excuse that Barron might be too tall. David Robinson served on active duty. He was 7 feet tall before he ever went to the San Antonio Spurs basketball team. David Robinson went to the United States Navy Military Academy. He's one of my officers, not directly, but he would have been.
Okay, look, it's one argument that a Trump should serve. That's a perfectly reasonable argument to make. A lot of people feel that way. But it doesn't change what's going on in Iran. What is your view of this war? Do you think it's a legitimate war? Many people think that the Iranian regime has been the instrument of terror through the Middle East for 40
Of course they have been. Of course they have been, Piers, but wait a minute. Trump then calls you guys NATO cowards. Wait a minute. NATO is set up to protect. That means that if a NATO country is attacked, they will all join together to repel it. It doesn't go in reverse. It doesn't mean if one of the NATO countries starts a war that all the others have to join in. That ain't part of the deal. The deal is protection, not aggression. And we started this war, and then he's calling you guys a bunch of cowards because you won't come in and help him. Well, why didn't he talk to you beforehand? And second of all, that isn't what the mission is. The mission is to protect the countries if they're attacked, not to go on the offense and do the attacking.
Okay, but do you think America was justified in joining Israel in the attack on Iran?
No.
Why
Absolutely not. Because we started the war. I'm not for starting any war. We fired the first shot. Plain and simple. You want to put it in Rambo terms? We drew first blood.
Many would argue, of those who support the war, that Iran had drawn a lot of blood through this regime for a very long time. They had supported and propped up. Well, hang on, Jesse. They had armed groups like Hamas and the Houthis and Hezbollah for decades. They had wreaked utter havoc, drawing enormous amounts of blood. And that actually the reason America and Israel had to deal with them now was that they were imminently going to get a nuclear weapon and may well use it. What do you say to that?
Well, here's what I say. Let's get the real history in. You know, I listen to people like Congressman Lawler in New York. They all love to go back to 1979, the day the Ayatollahs took over. They conveniently don't go back to when I was alive. I'm a little older than them. Let's go back to 1953, shall we? When Iran had a Democratic elected president, the United States didn't like him. We pulled a coup d'etat, and what did we do? We stuck the authoritarian dictator, the Shah, in power. That's when the I Hate America started, was way back in the 50s when we interfered in their democratic elections. But how convenient we are that we forget that. Then in 1979, what took place? The Ayatollahs took over, who were probably worse than the Shah. But let's remember, the hatred of America was started by America. It was not started by the Iranians. We interfered in their government way back in the 50s and overturned their democratic elected president. And then the dictatorship started with the Shah and now went to the Ayatollahs. And here we are today. But I'd like for Congressman Lawler to at least try to go back in history from before he was born to see what could have occurred and that the United States was the person that caused the hatred between the two countries.
You know, Jesse, I know you're very scathing of Trump now.
Jesse, he's a very, very smart, intelligent person. Very smart and intelligent. But, unfortunately, Americans, the rest of you, it's not looking great. And also the British, I don't know, Piers Morgan, he's the representative of the British. Not so good.
There was a time when you were on more friendly terms. Here's a clip from you both at WrestleMania 20.
You know what? I think that we may need a wrestler in the White House in 2008.
When you look at that, Jesse, I mean, that was 12, 13 years ago, I think. Trump has also been made a WWE Hall of Famer, which I know has angered you.
Yep.
How do you feel now looking back at that clip?
I feel that simply I was doing my job. I was doing what I was asked to do at the WWE. Trump being a Hall of Famer is a tragedy. This guy has never been in the ring. I got a good friend, Ken Patera, Olympian, first man to overhead press 500 pounds, 25 years in the wrestling business. Kenny Patera is not in the Hall of Fame. Donald Trump does not belong in the Wrestling Hall of Fame. He never earned it. You know what I had to do to get in the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame? At one point in my career, I wrestled 63 consecutive nights in a row. That's how you get in the Hall of Fame. When I was referring to putting a wrestler in the White House, I was talking about me, not him.
Really? That was a bit ambiguous.
Yeah, absolutely. I was the former governor of Minnesota. I'm the only real former wrestler. I don't include him. He's only in the Hall of Fame because he stopped an investigation against Vince McMahon, sexual stuff.
Do you intend to run again for governor and therefore maybe president?
I don't necessarily intend to run again, but I'm working on something that could send me straight to Washington and go face to face with this guy.
Really? What, you would run for president?
Plans may be in the works.
I mean, he can't run for president again, so what would that involve?
Well, you'll have to find out, wait and see. I'm not going to spill it here.
You're not going to crash
But
the...
I'll put it to you this way. Wait. Piers, I'll put it to you this way. We withstood the onslaught of the Gestapo in Minnesota. Well, I was taught in war to do this. You ensure that your backyard is secure. That's the first thing you do. Well, Minnesota's now secure. We've repelled the onslaught from Trump. Now it's time for us to go on the offense. So maybe it's time to send the Navy SEAL to Washington. Maybe it's time for a showdown between the Vietnam veteran and the draft dodger.
Do you actually mean a physical confrontation? Or?
No, but if he wants it, he's in the Hall of Fame. Let's both get in the ring.
I mean, there is a UFC...
After all, he's in the Hall of... He's in the Hall of Fame, isn't he?
Right, I mean, there is
Even though he's never, ever had a match.
Right, there is a UFC whole event going on imminently at the White House. Maybe they could extend it and have you against Trump.
Do you think he'd have the guts to do that? Are you kidding me?
Well, when he got
this guy,
when he got shot, Jesse. To be fair to Trump,
wait a minute, Piers.
To be fair to Trump, when he got shot,
I'm going to tell you.
When he got shot, he got back up and said, fight.
Oh yeah, right. You ever hear of a blade job? Anyway.
A blade? What, you think it was fake?
Anyway, I don't know. Where's his scar today?
Somebody died, literally, sitting behind him.
I don't know. You know, come on, Piers. You're going to tell me this guy's a big hero now?
I thought that day he was.
That's what you're going to tell me?
That day he was.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, well, then he accomplished what he wanted out of you guys.
No, I think you can be heroic on one day and you can be less heroic on others. But if you ask me, was he heroic when he got shot? Yeah, and I think those who try to pretend he wasn't actually shot or anything, it's ridiculous.
You're right. You know what I feel bad about was that if he'd have joined us in Vietnam, we might have won, huh?
No.
He could have put us... Why did he run and hide? He could have joined us.
That was so fucking funny, bro. That was the greatest comeback, man. He just fucked Piers Morgan hard. Without the rubber. Jesse, you're the fucking guy, bro.
And led us to victory.
I don't think anything would have changed the fortunes of the United States in that war.
Yeah, probably not, considered he called us all suckers, didn't he?
What would you say to Trump if you had a chance to speak to him?
I'd prefer not to speak with him. I don't have really... What would I say to him?
I don't know.
You know, he's... to me, he has no courage. He never has. I'll tell you what he is, Piers. Everybody knows these people. You're with a group of guys, and there's always one guy who will start the fight and then hold your coat. That's Donald Trump. He'll start the fight, but he'll hold your coat, and then the next day he'll tell everybody how tough he was.
Jesse Ventura, it's great to see you've lost none of your fighting spirit in the many years since I last interviewed you. Thank you very much for coming on.
Piers, I'll never lose my fighting spirit. You take care, man. And if you dare to have me on again, we'll see.
You will always be welcome. Always be welcome, Jesse. Don't you worry about that. The mere fact that show is called Uncensored, it was made for you.
By the way, say hi to Mick and Keith for me.
I will. I'll text them right now.
Okay, very good.
Thanks a lot, Jesse. Take care.
You too, Piers. Bye-bye.
Jesse is a real one. Piers, you're a fake one. Respect for the... You talked about... Respect to Piers for getting the facts right about all that bullshit with Muslim taking over, Islam taking over Britain and all that shit that's coming from the States. But else... Yeah. Piers is just a fucking industry plant. So fucking hot. Too fucking hot, man. So pretty much, honestly, the only guy who fucking know anything in all this fucking, I don't know, an hour and fucking 30 minutes was Jesse. The rest of the guests, yeah, bullshit. Just bullshit. See you guys next time.